Well, the marathon's over. We made it through the NFL draft. Now we have to talk about what the Chiefs draft class actually looks like. Welcome back to RGR Football. Hey, Chiefs fans and NFL fans in general, welcome back. This is going to be the grade show for the NFL draft for the Kansas City Chiefs in particular. Now, I'm not going to grade the whole thing. I'm not going to grade each pick because I think that's a bit ridiculous because the parameters that go into the selections are not anything that anyone outside of the draft room actually knows. And so I think it's a little bit far-fetched to try to grade the actual things. What I will tell you is that they did a good job in accomplishing their goals. Was it exactly what they wanted? Maybe, maybe not. Well, only Brett Veach, Mike Borgonzi, Ryan Poles, and the crew will know. But I do want to say, I think overall, when you compare about what they needed to do, this is a B minus at the very worst. I see a lot of people complaining about certain things not getting a prolific wide receiver. I think Powell's a solid wide receiver that's going to fit into what they want to do. And quite frankly, I don't think you could afford to put yourself in a future bind with that particular selection. We'll get to that in a second. I want to take a step back, let you know what we're doing. If you're new, click the like and the sub and the bell notification because there's a ton coming. We only have a short 8-10 weeks until training camp. There's a lot that's going to go on. There's going to be OTAs that we'll cover. There's going to be mandatory camps that we'll see if everybody shows up. We're going to cover that as well. A lot of changes that we're going to see as well. What the competitions are going to be. A lot of speculation on the offensive line. We'll get to that in a second as well. But I'm also going to do a complete offseason grade here coming up in the next week or two. Dan and I are going to break down the draft picks on film for you guys. That's coming as well. Danilo's going to take a look at a couple of different things. That's all coming as well. Hopefully we'll get more of Jeff and we'll continue to expand the RGR universe around here. I've taken a good 24 hours to take a step back and get a little bit of rest and get an idea of what I think overall. And I'm not looking at grades. I'm not going to go off of grades for, from other media outlets or anything like that. I'm going to run this down how I think that it went. And the first player that I'll go over on film will be Nick Bolton. And I'll show you the pluses and a couple of the minuses as well because he's not a perfect prospect, but he fits what they wanted. And I'll go deeper into this on the film review, but I want to give you this. I see this as a B minus pick. I think he filled the one thing that we didn't really talk about in terms of priority. Yes, we said, hey, linebackers on the list of things that they need to get done. But when you take a look at it specifically, and when you hear the comments, I'll try to include the front office's comments in the film reviews as well. When you hear them talk about we needed a middle linebacker, and you hear the inference about making calls down the line, that's what I think changed everything. Because you can complain about Jabril Cox being a better athlete. He certainly is. That is not a question in any way. But he's not a middle linebacker. He didn't call the defense at LSU. I don't know that he even called the defense at North Dakota State. So that comparison is not apples to apples necessarily. Now, they feel that Nick Bolton can come in and play the Will or the Mike. That's great. But Mike specifically, I think a lot of the other prospects, ones that I was looking at, ones that I thought could be fits eventually, don't do the one thing that they need, and that is line up in the middle, get everybody else lined up, and make the call. So I think for that especially, I think that's a good pick. We'll go over his athleticism and everything else on film. There's a lot to like and a couple of things that are a little bit of concern, but we'll get to that. Then you get to Creed Humphrey. Dan's going to do the Creed breakdown on film, and I think you're going to dig it because Creed has a couple of little things that he needs to work on, and Dan will show you that as well. A little bit of anchor here and there, but overall, really smart, really feisty player that just adds to this wall of what is going on in Kansas City on the offensive line. I think it's a great addition. I think both these guys come in and are in the mix to start week 1 We're going to have to see how training camp goes. There's always a little bit of back and forth, but I think they're both going to be in the mix. And then they come back, and I think they filled holes, not with guys that you can project into starting roles, but with Kaindoh. You can see him rotate. He's really raw. If you missed my social media stuff, we'll show you that as well. Really, really raw, but a lot of upside. Has the length and the athleticism that they like. He's explosive, and we're going to get into how that fits in with this group of pass rushers. I think that's great. Noah Gray, I think, is a smart pick. I think he fits in some of the things that I've been talking about all offseason. And even Brett Veach and Andy Reid hinted at the H role. I think that's going to be very important. They have Michael Burton on board, and I'm going to give you a sneak hint now. I'm going to have Michael Burton, the Chiefs' new fullback, on the channel here in the next week. Keep an eye out for that one as well. I think that all goes away towards allowing them to adjust the offense to combat what they're getting on the defensive side, meaning light boxes. We'll get into that on the film as well. They come back, and you can have complaints if you want. Trey Smith was a third-round grade by Dane Brugler. He was a second-round grade on my board. Getting him in the sixth, despite the medical concerns, is a slam dunk. There's no question about it. He's also a guy that I think will be in the mix, not only to make the roster, but eventually to be a starter on this roster. It might take a year or two. I think he is a little bit more in the gap man thing than he is in the zone scheme. But I haven't broken down the film. Dan and I are flipping a coin over that one. But versatility, I think that's going to be great. And then you come back with Cornell Powell. And Powell fits what they want in terms of a guy that is not afraid of contact, that can play through that contact. Now, is he 6'3", like a lot of the guys that we were calling, X's? No, he can play the X, though. It's not a problem. He's got good leaping ability. It's not, out of this world. It's just a nice, well-rounded guy that can fit in. He's competition in and amongst D-Rob and Byron Pringle. And I think that aspect of it, the competition itself, is really going to pay off for this team. So I'm very excited. I think a B grade on this draft is certainly applicable. That's what I have them at. And I think that there's a lot of upside here to go. Now, we've heard some of the reports of the UDFAs at the time that I'm recording this. I don't have the whole list yet. We'll go over that when it comes to. But we have all kinds of film. We're going to have some short clips for you this week as well. I need to know from you guys, how much volume do you want here in the next couple of months while it's that slower time? I'm going to give you some extras. We're going to still have content for you at least 5 days a week. And more than likely, we'll have more than that. We're going to try not to overdo it. Everybody's pretty wore out, but we're going to get there. So click the like and the sub and the bell notification for all of you who are new. And for all of you that are regulars, leave down in the comments who you want to see and how you want to see it. Do you want short bites in the morning? Do you want all long videos once or a day or 3 times a week? Or our plan right now is to have something every day, some short, some long, longer in the evenings when people have more time. So I want your opinions. And for all of you members, we're going to get back to doing the Zooms. We're going to have some guests on the Zooms. It's going to be fun. If you want to upgrade to either the video levels, like the rookies, or into the Zoom calls, or you want to go full on Gooch, you can do that too. I hope you guys enjoyed the draft. It's a brand new week, and we're going to get after it again. Have a good one. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more, and subscribe to RGR